What gets measured gets improved, but what happens when you measure the wrong things and what you choose to track does not accurately represent what you actually want to improve? This is an extremely common mistake I see people make, so in this video I'm going to explore what this mistake looks like, its consequences, and what things I would recommend tracking. A major example of how measuring the wrong thing can lead us off track is when people use their weight on a scale as the only metric to track their fat loss. Notice I said fat loss, as weight loss is a misnomer. Not only is muscle mass important for functionality, but it's one of the best indicators of health span. As we work to lose fat, we absolutely want to prioritize maintaining muscle mass and bone density. Because muscle is denser than fat, even if there were two people who weighed the exact same, one could be much leaner than the other based on their body composition. It's even possible for someone to lose fat and gain muscle in a way that makes them leaner while increasing their weight on a scale. What people are really after is improved body composition through fat loss while maintaining or gaining muscle mass and bone density. When people put their focus only on the scale, losing any type of weight can be celebrated. This is one of the major criticisms of using GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. Because of the major lack of appetite these drugs cause, if people are not prioritizing eating adequate amounts of protein and strength training, according to Dr. Peter Attia, the weight lost tends to be about 40% fat and 60% muscles, tendons, and bone. A theme of this video that I also talk about in my article on non-negotiable fitness goals. Because we do not need to, we should not adopt any methods at the expense of functional performance, body composition, joint and tissue health, and overall health and wellness. Tracking weight loss can be fraught with issues where body composition would be a much better indicator of if we're on a sustainable path that includes everything that will help us thrive. A quick note, don't confuse gaining muscle mass with getting bulky. The amount of muscle we can grow is highly dependent on the amount of testosterone available in the body, and different people, especially men and women, have dramatically different amounts of testosterone. Muscle is lean, and the toned look many strive for comes with building muscle and losing fat. To clear up another misconception, to grow muscle, we would do lighter weights with more reps, hypertrophy work, and to strengthen our body without a ton of muscle growth, we would lift very heavy for very low reps. I mention this here only because it is opposite of what most people think. Okay, what about workout scores and exercise PRs? What about your back squat max, your marathon time, and your ability to get into different yoga poses? These are all common things that people choose to chase and use to measure their progress, but progress towards what exactly? Just like weight loss, through these, sometimes we can completely miss the point. Here I'll talk through some common mistakes in logic in action. Each of these assumptions makes jumps in logic that come from commonly accepted fallacies that have people following a path that may actually be detrimental to the non-negotiable fitness goals. Here's some common thinking of where it goes awry. I want to look better, so I should improve my body composition. To lose fat, I need to do more cardio. Running is cardio, so the better I get at running, the better my cardio will be, and therefore the more fat I will lose. It is a fallacy that to lose fat, you need to focus on cardio. Cardio should be a consistent part of a well-balanced workout program to ensure we get adequate exposure to all the non-negotiable exercise stimuli. But cardio is not the end-all be-all for fat loss. Having adequate muscle mass is not only super healthy, but muscle increases daily calorie expenditure as your body works to maintain it. Not only is strength training and high-intensity workouts a huge boost to our life, but these things are highly effective for fat loss too. To lose fat and maintain gained muscle, you should not focus solely on cardio, as endurance-only plans can actually cause you to lose muscle mass and bone density. The big mistake here is assuming that improved running performance equals the body you want. It is true to maximally improve your running performance, running needs to be an enormous part of your training. But we need to remember a couple things. 1, professionals cross-train, even professional runners. And 2, if your goal is fat loss, and you put your focus on improving running performance, you can be tricked by your improving performance and progress in that one metric. and it may be at the expense of some non-negotiable fitness goals. Imagine this scenario. You choose your running performance and your weight as your two primary metrics to track your progress. You could make a lot of progress on these two metrics while losing a lot of muscle, bone density, speed, power, agility, strength, anaerobic capacity, and mobility. Another common way of thinking that has some issues with it is when people say things like, I want to look better, so I should improve my body composition. To gain muscle, I need to be stronger. The higher my back squat, the stronger I am. Therefore, the higher my back squat, the better I will look. It is a fallacy to think that simply getting stronger will get you the body composition that you want. I've seen this a lot. People imagine that once their strength numbers hit a certain level, their body will look muscular. Like cardio, strength training should be a consistent staple in your workout program, but putting all your focus on increasing personal records in the gym will not guarantee the body composition you're after. Yes, strength training will have a positive impact on your muscle mass and can improve fat loss, but not only does it not guarantee fat loss if proper nutrition is not integrated, but hypertrophy training would generate more muscle gain than strength training. This is clearly evident when comparing powerlifters with bodybuilders. Powerlifters are much stronger than bodybuilders, but many are overweight and they carry a lot of body fat. Additionally, there are ways to game the system with PRs in the gym. There are gear and technique strategies that effectively change the exercise. With these competitor strategies, PRs can look good on paper, but your gym efforts can actually become less transferable to your real life. So we should be looking to improve in ways specific to the life we want to live. So here's the big mistake: using 1 rep max PRs as the metric to track progress towards the body you want. By focusing too much on 1 rep max PRs, your training and diet can be at the expense of non-negotiable fitness goals. You can make big progress towards 1 rep maxes while gaining fat and losing VO2 max, anaerobic capacity, endurance, stamina, and mobility. Additionally, if growing muscle is your actual goal, not only does 1 rep max work come with higher risk, but there are opportunity costs associated with the hypertrophy work you could have been doing instead. So another thing we hear is that I don't want to get hurt, so I'll improve my flexibility. The better I get at yoga, the more flexible I will be and the more resilient I will be to injury. So it is a fallacy to think that getting better and better at yoga just automatically makes you more resilient to injury. Just like the cardio and strength talk, all of these are important to integrate consistently into our workout program, but we need to see the value in all of these things together. To be resilient, we need to be strong and capable through full ranges of motion. Strength training can decrease the chances of sports injury by 50%. Yoga only lacks the strength and muscle and bone density development vital to resiliency. So the mistake is assuming that mastering yoga is optimal. Everything can be taken to an extreme, and flexibility is one of those things where there's an optimal range. Too little and we're restricted, but too much flexibility can cause major issues too. The biggest issues with what people choose to track generally come from misconceptions. The value of talking through your goals with your coach is enormous, as we can help point you in the exact direction of your goals, as opposed to you putting a lot of effort into methods that can lead you astray. So none of these things that I listed are inherently bad to measure or to track, but we need to be extremely careful to ensure that what we do decide to track accurately represents what we are actually after. Here are a few additional common measurements that can be flawed and lead people astray. Maybe I'll talk more about these in the future. Using heart rate monitors to track strain or fatigue. Heart rate does not account for muscle fatigue. Another is using heart rate monitors on our wrists during workouts. These types of monitors are inaccurate during workouts. Using heart rate variability to track recovery and workout preparedness. Heart rate variability can be impacted by many factors, even respiratory rate. So it can be prone to reasonably large fluctuations. Counting calories or macros. This doesn't account for micronutrients or consider factors like satiety, hormones, and the difficulty of implementing diets like this that contribute heavily to long-term adherence. So what should be measured? I recommend you track 1 to 3 times a year the things that directly represent the non-negotiable fitness goals. On top of this list, track anything you're interested in, but the goal is to use the metrics I'm about to list as a base to help ensure that you're not doing things accidentally at the expense of what's vital for long-term success and sustainability. So track functional performance. Ultimately, the goal of our efforts in the gym is not to improve our ability in the gym. We want it to transfer into the life that we want to live. To do that, I recommend having a set of fitness tests that mimic real life as much as possible. At Movement Link, we have a benchmark week, which we complete 2 times a year to give us an idea of our capacity across all aspects of fitness. We want to be careful not to test our progress towards our goals by using our normal workouts as the test, as that would prove only that the training we are doing is making us better at the training we are doing. An example of this is whether or not to include max barbell snatches in our testing. If our goals are functional performance in the real world and we include snatches in our training, it is illogical to test the snatch to conclude that if it increases, we have improved our real world performance. Because the barbell snatch does not exist in regular life, we could only conclude that training the snatch has improved our ability in the snatch. If, however, our test mimics the real world as much as possible, like carrying things, picking things up, stepping up and down, getting on and off the ground, etc., then we could include snatches or remove snatches from our training to test how valuable snatches actually are for our real life. The goal with our functional performance testing is to provide an accurate of a view of real life as possible to ensure that our training is actually pushing us in the direction most useful to us. So next would be body composition. Using like a DEXA scan or something similar, measuring and tracking amounts of fat, muscle mass, and bone density gives us insights into what actually matters. Tissue and joint health. The goal is to be strong and capable through full ranges of motion. We have a series of functional movement tests that help us identify and track if we have adequate ranges of motion and what areas we can work on. And then for overall health and wellness, using blood work from companies like Inside Tracker or from your doctor can provide insights into vitamins, minerals, hormones, blood sugar, genetics. So it's fine to track your weight, aim to improve your marathon time, your back squat PR, or your flexibility in yoga poses, but keep in mind that we should never be doing anything at the expense of our non-negotiable fitness goals. So while we track things that we may become interested in, we should have a base of metrics that can show us if we are accidentally doing something at the expense of something else that matters to us. Possibly most importantly, you should track your efforts. Tracking results should be part of your process to see if your strategies' adherence level to those strategies are producing the results you're after. The things I listed earlier in this video are ways to track your progress, but if you also track your efforts, you'll not only have insights into how well you actually followed your plan so that you can make adjustments in the future, but you'll have additional built-in motivation to implement your strategies consistently over time. You don't have to be perfect, but adherence and consistency will be the biggest factors in the results you get. The strategies you choose to follow and your efforts are the only things that are actually in your control. So they should take on the vast majority of your focus. Maybe you've heard the comedian Jerry Seinfeld's "don't break the chain" concept of becoming a better and better comedian. He says to write a joke every single day and then to mark an X on the calendar. Then do everything you can to not break the chain. If you break it, start again as fast as possible and try and beat your last record. So I go much deeper into these areas in my article, The Specifics of a Healthy Lifestyle, but here are the broad categories of effort that I recommend you track. Exercise. How many days a week did you exercise and what types of exercise stimuli were you exposed to? Sleep. How well did you sleep and how well did you follow your pre-sleep routine? Nutrition. How well did you follow your nutrition plan? Non-exercise activity. Did you perform 10 minutes of mobility and did you break sedentary hours each day? These efforts lead to the improvements you're after. Honestly, I think someone who defined their goals and the strategies and corresponding habits that would lead them there and put all their efforts into tracking their adherence to those habits would outperform someone who only tracks their results. Unfortunately, most people only do the latter. So, to sum it up, make sure what you choose to track actually represents the results you're after and does not allow for progress in your metrics at the expense of what really matters to you.